So I broke up with my boyfriend last night. It's a bit raw, it's a bit real, very fresh, but we gotta keep it kicking, we gotta keep it moving, because I am not the kind of person that's gonna sit and dwell. I'm the kind of person that's gonna move on, basically like feed into myself from the experience, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, I'm quite an avoidant person. I think I've learned a lot from my previous relationship and breakup compared to this one. I was a completely different person in both relationships, which also means that I've been able to deal with the breakups completely differently, if you catch my drift. But with saying that, obviously I'm absolutely gutted. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm completely fine. I mean, we were together for over 2 years. Like, I am hurt and I am upset, and I do wish that things could have been different, but this is the way that things have turned out, so I've got to deal with it. There's nothing that I can do. Obviously I'll touch a little bit more on kind of what went on. It's keeping things as much private as I possibly can, while kind of talking about certain situations, reasons for breakups, how I treated this relationship completely differently to my previous one that completely tore me apart, and kind of is the relationship that taught me to be who I was in this most recent one, which genuinely has made this breakup so much easier to deal with. And yeah, I'm fresh faced, washed hair, due on my period, spot patch on. I'm hot, it's like 30 something degrees in the UK, but we've got things to do and I need to sort myself out. I feel like I need to just take care of myself today, have a really good self-care day, just invest in myself. And so this all starts with my nails. So I did start my nails, I think yesterday or the night before, and I was planning to finish them yesterday, but obviously everything went down yesterday, so I got thrown a little bit off balance. So my nails were like the least of my concerns at that point. But I started doing quite a summery set with the dragon fruits and stuff. Yeah, that's not the vibe anymore, because while yes, it's still summer and summer nails are so it right now, I'm feeling a little bit dark. I'm feeling like I need some dark French tips. I need a very monochrome set. I just need something to like reflect me right now. So I think we're just gonna have to switch up the summer vibes, take off the few nails that we did get done, and yeah, put something dark and gloomy on, but make the dark and gloomy look pretty is what we're gonna be doing. So I just thought we'd kind of have a little chit chat about breakups while I did my nails today, because I feel like, you know, you can like watch something while I yap. And I thought that would just be quite, do you know what, I have no idea. I think also as well, like, this is obviously distracting me as well. Like, this is going to take me hours to do, probably hours to edit, you know, like it's going to take up a huge bulk of my Saturday. So, you know, kind of got to be grateful that I'm going to be distracted all day. So that is why you are here with me right now. So we're not going to talk about the first thing that I did was spend 1.3k on a brand new phone, because I'm an impulsive girl, and like if I'm upset, that impulsivity skyrockets. Anyway, so the first thing I did was buy a brand new phone. I've got the 17 Pro Max, which I'm filming on right now, and I've also got it in the, is that landscape, horizontal landscape? I've also got it in that way with like the side filming, which is so cool. I absolutely love it. I had the iPhone 15 Pro Max before, which overheated so bad. Like, I loved this phone though. Like, there is nothing wrong with this phone. It just, I don't know, okay, I was just sad and I wanted to buy something for myself, and that thing happened to be something that cost like over £1,000. But I thought we would just have a quick look for some inspo together. I mean, like I said, I've kind of got it in my head what I kind of want. I want something kind of dark. I mean, even if it's like summery but dark, do you know what I mean? Like burgundy summery. I just want something dark. Like, I've kind of just like, cool, everyone's feeling all cheerful and happy right now and getting really pretty nails. Not me. Dark nails. Okay, we're on Pinterest at the moment. I feel like they're not kind of really giving the vibe that I wanted them to give. Like, they're not really, you know, it's not really aligning with kind of what I had in my brain. But obviously this is just more for inspo. Like, if I see a set that I'm absolutely in love with, then yeah, I'll copy and paste it. But for now, they're so cool. I don't know if I'm screen recording on this phone to like add into the video. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that because it's like phone to phone. Maybe I can airdrop it, but just in case it doesn't, I'm gonna flash you what I'm looking at anyway. Yeah, I feel like I do want to do stripes. I think I want like a white or black French tip with like the other as stripes, what would be white with black stripes on top. I feel like I'm kind of digging that, but obviously that's just one nail. We need like 10 nails, so I'm not sure honestly. Do you know what, I'm actually going to type in dark summer nails, see if it's like actually even like a thing. Like, can you have summery nails that are dark? I think my answer to this question might be no. That's kind of the vibe. I like that. I'm gonna save that, and then we are gonna scroll down like from that feed, because I feel like there'll be like similar designs. Now I don't know if I'm feeling in my dark era, but like I am. Like the thought of putting something like really fun and like on my nails just feels so wrong right now. These are really cool. I really like the light tortoiseshell in this. I'm not really sure about the other nails, but I really like the light tortoise. So maybe that will be in there. I feel like these are really cool as well. I'm actually running out of white polish though, which is a bit of a bummer because my sister keeps stealing it to do her nails, and I didn't even realise, so I didn't realise how low I was, and I really need to order some more. But like I said, I just dropped like 1.3k on a phone, so I think the nail supplies are gonna have to take a quick step back. So honestly, I think we might just kind of go off of this one a little bit. I think they're pretty cute, so I think we're gonna go off of them. I'm not really sure about the style of that flower, but we are gonna figure that out. I'm definitely gonna have to mix some colours together for the ombres. But yeah, let's do it. I have no idea how I'm gonna set the camera up. My nail desk, hold on. My nail desk is not too great. It's always just a bit of like a cluster down here. It's just always a lot going on, and I like change my nails all the time. So okay, so I think firstly I'm gonna quickly remove the few nails that I did have on from what I was previously working on before I got absolutely heartbroken, because that's obviously not the vibe anymore. And then we can get cracking. I am so hot and sticky today. Like, it's so hot, I actually can't cope. Okay, so nails have been reset. If you're wondering, they are Gel X tips with some like sheer pinky builder gel on, and I'm gonna get cracking with the black nails because they're the easiest nails. So if we just kind of like get them out of the way, then we can go on to the more difficult nails. Okay, so I also just want to preface this by saying that my 2 different relationships that I have had end, so my 2 different breakups, were at completely different ages, so that also plays quite a big factor. My first relationship was for I think around like 4 years, and we ended at, I want to say 18 or 19. And my second relationship, which ended yesterday, we were together for just over 2 years. So, and obviously I'm 22 now, so I kind of just naturally, I guess, deal with things a little bit differently anyway. But yeah, so with my first relationship, he was my entire life. I didn't have a life outside of that relationship. I did for the first kind of couple of years, and then for the last couple of years I kind of just, I don't know, kind of just ditched everyone for my boyfriend, which is not the kind of girl that you want to be, and I learned that the hard way. But I just basically lost everything for this boy, and I didn't have any hobbies. I mean, I literally just, my life revolved around him, and obviously for quite a long time. And so then when that ended, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to, I just didn't know me anymore. I didn't know how to live by myself without constantly having someone there like he was, etc. I think you kind of get the gist. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't know life outside of this first relationship. I had nothing that brought me joy besides my partner, and again, like I say, I learned that the incredibly hard way. And I think that's my biggest take for giving anybody kind of like relationship advice, is do not have your partner be your entire world. Obviously you can love them to death, well, I'll spend a lot of time with them, but you need to have happiness outside of a relationship. is what I'm saying. So anyway, that was really difficult for me. Really struggled with that breakup. I felt so alone. I didn't know what to do. I didn't really have any friends. Luckily, I had then started to make friends from work at the job I was working at, and I slowly built up my life to be mine again, and I absolutely loved, in the end, the time that I had by myself. I loved finding myself, figuring out who I am, doing things for me and only me. Like, I actually really enjoyed it in the end. But those first few months of splitting up, I was beside myself. Like, I genuinely did not know what to do with myself. And so that's why I kind of say you need to have a life outside of your partner, because you don't even understand how difficult that breakup can be when you don't. But yeah, I think that's quite a straight French, and I've done a really curved French. Oops. Well, we can make it work anyway. Yeah, like, they've done quite a straight French, but ours is quite curved. But like, honestly, I think it's fine. I'm curing my nail. But yeah, it was a huge struggle for me, that first breakup, and it taught me so many things that I brought into my next relationship, which obviously is the one that just ended. So I'm kind of going to share with you basically how I feel I have been able to cope with this breakup despite still being so in love with my now ex-boyfriend, and how I have managed to deal with that, basically, on accepting that it didn't work out, even though we had literally planned our entire future, where we were going to live, dogs, kids, you know, we had everything planned. And so obviously that hurts. Yeah, so obviously that hurts, and that's something that will take a little while to actually kind of recover from. But mentally I am feeling okay, and it's because in this relationship I walked into it knowing that I could not make this relationship my entire life. I needed to keep my friends, I needed to have some hobbies, I needed to still enjoy being alone while also loving spending time with my partner. And that's basically how our relationship went. We both kept our friends, we kept our individual hobbies and individual friends. I think that's so important. Friends that you are both seeing all the time, like, you know, like a couples in a friendship group, if you know what I mean. That's not sustainable. Like, yeah, it's nice, yeah, it's fun, but you need to have your own friends on top of that. Don't have any kind of link to your partner, etc., because when you break up, it will be so much easier to have friends that aren't biased towards anybody, you know, your own friends. They're not friends with him, they're friends with you, because that means that you still have your own identity while being with somebody. Your life is not strictly revolving around them. And I found that I read books, I do nails, I do diamond paintings, I do just drawing and painting. I have so many little kind of journaling, little creative hobbies that I absolutely love doing, and that I stayed loving doing throughout the relationship. And I also have friends who mean absolutely nothing to him. I have my own identity still. I kind of never strayed away from that. I didn't lose everything in my life for him, and we actually had an incredibly healthy relationship because of this, because he was the exact same. He kept his hobbies, he kept his friends, you know, we didn't lose everything for each other. And I think that, like, our relationship was just so incredibly healthy, because I think with my first relationship as well, because of how kind of things were, we were literally spending 24/7 with each other. Like, we spent so much time together, obviously, albeit we were still so young at the time, so none of this was like a thing. Like, you didn't really know what that means for a relationship at the time. But yeah, so we were in each other's pockets all the time. So that made it so much harder, not having my own identity, always being with him 24/7, and then suddenly splitting up was like going cold turkey. Like, it was so hard. Whereas with this relationship, with all my hobbies, with my friends, he was with his friends, had his hobbies, and then we'd come together and do things together, you know? Like, we had our hobbies together, don't get me wrong, and I'll really miss those hobbies. But it just means that now that I am alone again, I know that I'm okay to be alone. I'm completely fine being alone. I know exactly how to be alone. I know that I can do my hobbies. I know that I still have my own friends. My life has not stopped. I don't have to figure myself out, because I still know who I am, even besides of the relationship. I never lost who I was. I never lost my spark. Like, I know, ultimately, I think obviously when I was talking to my friends about all of this, I was like, obviously I'm absolutely gutted. Like, don't get me wrong, I am so upset about it, but I know that I'm gonna be fine. Like, I know that I'm okay alone. Like, I'm not worried about having to figure myself out. I'm not worried about, you know, kind of bed rotting and not knowing what to do. Like, my identity didn't purely just exist when I was with him. I have my own identity. Also, I'm doing my thumb back as well. So yeah, I think that's obviously the biggest difference that I have made in these two relationships, and the way that I feel after each breakup is incredibly different. And like I said, this partner that I've just had, we planned our entire lives together, our future together. We were literally saving to move out together. Like, we were, you know, we were quite serious. And so compared to my ex before that, and so the fact that I'm mentally okay now that it's over, I think goes to show how much I've healed and how much I've grown as a person compared to who I used to be in these situations. And I think also I strongly believe in what's meant to be will be. The one who loves never loses. Do you know what I mean? All of these things, like, I strongly believe in them. Everything happens for a reason. You know, if I guess some people just aren't supposed to be your life partner, and as much as you wished and hoped that they would be, they're not. And that's just something that you have to accept and move on. And I think as well, I've just grown in so many ways. Like, with my ex before this one, I would romanticize our relationship. I would think, oh my god, I've lost so much good. I wouldn't even think to consider the bad things that actually made the relationship end once it had ended, because all I could think about was the good times, the good parts, and then I'd be trapped in this cycle of just pure heartbreak, thinking I was missing out on the most incredible person, when really I was just shutting aside the reason that we broke up. And like, he wasn't an amazing person. Like, well, he was a good person, but we weren't compatible together anyway. So I think I just romanticized too much, whereas with this relationship, I'm thinking he was the most incredible person to ever exists. Like, I still love him so much. We've ended on good terms. I have never been treated so incredibly well by a man, and I know that whoever has him in the future is the luckiest girl on the planet. We never argued. We had such a healthy, such an incredible relationship. And yeah, he was just amazing. Like, I cannot fault him at all. And we had such an amazing time together. But at the same time, now that it's ended, I'm not sat here just romanticizing that, because I'm not even romanticizing it. That is pure facts. Like, that's exactly how he was to me. I was his literal princess. Like, he worshipped the ground that I walked on, which obviously is so devastating. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't want to just cry right now. And I've even lost where I was going with this, because I'm sure, yeah, but I'm not just purely romanticizing it. I'm taking a step back and I'm thinking, well, we ended for a reason. We didn't, if everything was so incredibly perfect, then we would still be together. And I think that that's something that's really hard to come to grips with for a lot of people, but it's something that you definitely need to kind of look and realize, because relationships don't just end for no reason, as much as people wished that there was no reason for a breakup. You know, when it's like, oh, he broke up with me for no reason. At the end of the day, there's always a reason. Things don't just, even if it's a pathetic reason, there is always a reason. And unfortunately, it's just something that you do have to just deal with. It's ended, like, you know. And I also have grown in the way of, I do not beg, I do not chase, I do not do anything that puts my emotions on the line when they shouldn't be on the line. Do you know what? So since my ex, the one that I was crazy heartbroken about, I have always told myself that I would never beg for someone to be in my life. I would never try and justify why someone should stay. I will never teach someone how to love me the way I want to be loved. I will just never put my feelings on the line for someone who's clearly not willing, because at the end of the day, If he wanted to, he would. And I know that's so cliche, but it's so true. Like, a man, as I've now experienced with my now ex-boyfriend, a man who truly wants you and truly wants to spoil you he will do everything that in his power to make you feel like you are loved and that you are like a queen, basically. So I will never beg anyone. I will never over explain myself. I will never kind of put my feelings on the line. If someone wants to leave you, then you need to let them leave. I think obviously we've just ended like on such good terms, like really good terms, to be honest. And he kind of suffers with his mental health, with feeling good enough and feeling like I can be cared and provided for properly. But unfortunately, he isn't in the position where he's happy with himself to be able to feel like he can do that for me, if that makes sense. And he did do that for me perfectly, and no matter how much I would say like, you're incredible, like, you know what I mean, you make me feel like, you know, no matter how much I tried to reassure, he just didn't truly believe that in himself, and he just feels like I deserved a lot better. And there was never any arguments, there was never any cheating, there was nothing ever. But he just isn't happy with his life where it is. He's so in his own head, he doesn't like his job, you know. And I think as a man, they deal with that a lot differently than a female. I think a lot of the time a female feels like their partner is their crutch, you know, like. But I think sometimes with certain males, obviously there's such a like stereotype and like around men's mental health, and men obviously don't want to appear to be weak, they don't want to appear to be struggling. Obviously it's not always the case, but it's just how unfortunately a lot of men feel. They feel like they need to shut themselves from the entire world and push everything away from them, you know. And unfortunately that's what happened between us. I tried for a very long time to reassure him and loved him as best as I possibly could, and he literally said like, you were the most incredible girlfriend, like, and it's killing him to have to, you know, split. But he just needs to figure himself out before things just go too far mentally. And I completely understand that, like, and I know that he struggled for quite a long time, and you know, at the end of the day, for his own mental health, if he has felt like he needs to step away and not have anyone to kind of be, what's the word, like, not betting on him, like no one depending on him for anything, so he can just work on his own self-happiness, and then I completely understand. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, man, he should have just told me how he was feeling. I knew how he was feeling and I tried my best to help how he was feeling, but unfortunately things just don't work out. And everyone deals with mental health, everyone deals with everything differently. There's no blueprint on how someone's supposed to deal with something specifically in a relationship, and I will never blame him, have any animosity, anything towards him for deciding to choose himself and work on himself, because he, yeah, like I said, he was the most incredible person I have ever met in my life, and I will forever treasure the way that he treated me. And I now have a new standard entirely on how I want to be treated. Would never settle for anything less than what he showed me, compared to the first partner that showed me absolutely nothing and made me feel terrible all the time, like I wasn't worthy. So yeah, and I think obviously the difference between kind of splitting up out of anger and out of hate versus splitting up because, you know, someone has to work on themselves, or you're just not compatible, or you want different things in life, you know, like any of the kind of amicable parts, like any of the amicable reasons for a breakup, I think they're so hard. And that's not to say breakups out of hate, out of arguments, anything like that aren't hard, because they are. Like, I've had that as well. I have had that as well. But yeah, I think knowing what you had was genuinely incredible and potentially even once in a lifetime, and then having to step back from that, and you genuinely find it difficult to even find a fault in this person, like myself, because obviously I'm being understanding on the reasons that we did end, of course, but I do find it difficult now to kind of come to terms with the fact that nothing even went wrong. You know, like I have no reason to be angry at this man. I have no reason to kind of say to myself, well, someone so much better will come along, because I don't know that, because he was that better. Like, he was just absolutely incredible. And so yeah, it's gonna be hard. I know that it's gonna be hard, and I don't expect it not to be, because there's nothing for me to hate about him. There's nothing for me to say, well, he cheated, so I need to just, you know, move on, and I hate him so much and stuff. No, I absolutely love the bones off of this man. But I just tell myself, you know, clearly he wasn't my person, and I will find my person, and they will give me everything that he gave me, and somehow, if even possible, they'll be able to give me more. And so yeah, I just think that breakups, no matter your situation, are going to be hard, but being not detached from it, but knowing that you will be okay by yourself truly makes the entire ordeal, it's the green, makes the entire ordeal so much, I don't know if I would say easier, because it's not easy, but it's, you're a lot more stable. Like, if I didn't have my hobbies, if I didn't want to do my nails today, then I would be sulking and moping around in bed, and I would feel so much worse for myself. Whereas I went to bed last night and I knew today, okay, right, I'm gonna do my nails, you know, I'm gonna take my mind off it. I'm not gonna doom scroll and get sad and look back at pictures and listen to sad music. Like, I'm just gonna crack on with it and live my life as I would be, whether he was here or not. This is exactly how I would be spending my day, so I'm just gonna do it anyway, you know. And I think, like I said, it's not easy, and I think the thing is, obviously I've had that first love breakup before, I guess it's kind of like to say, but like I have experience, I guess, in breakups, so I'm not blind to how these things go anymore. And with my ex now, I was his first serious relationship, so I have no idea how he must be feeling right now, because I'm sure it's not great. But I know he's doing his hobbies today. He has gone fishing, which is one of his hobbies. Peaceful, calming, you know, he can kind of just use the time to think. So we're both just kind of doing our lives. We're just doing what makes us happy to try and get through a situation, and we're not talking. I know that sounds like we're talking, so I know what he's doing. We're not talking. I want to give him that space that he needs to sort himself out. It's just, I paused my location and he hasn't paused his yet, so I had a cheeky look. That's how I know he's fishing. But I think as well, the difference between an inexperienced breakup and an experienced breakup, between having no identity and having an identity, I think the difference is that when it came to an end, you know, I kind of just said, like, I have appreciated you so much, like, you're an incredible person, I truly, genuinely wish you the best in life. Like, I didn't try and say, you know, please stay, things will be fine, please stay, you know, like I did with the ex before that, because that just prolonged my healing so much, and then I felt like an idiot when my begging didn't work. Like, I felt like a tool. And so with this, you know, I'm like, I understand your reasons that we haven't worked out. Work on yourself. I wish you the best. Like, you know, I would never talk bad on him, and I feel so at peace knowing that I didn't chase, I didn't beg, I didn't say anything malicious that will bite me in the ass. I stayed really kind, as our whole relationship was. You know, I didn't try and make him feel guilty for feeling like he needed to work on his own happiness before putting other people's happiness first. I understood him, and yeah, I was sobbing while I was saying it, but I just kept things calm and peaceful, and I didn't leave that relationship with anything to regret. I didn't leave with anything that would keep me up at night. I didn't leave with anything that made me cringe to say, you know? So, okay, I've done the focus. I've done the zebra on this ombre nails, so now I need to do the same to this one, and I think these are gonna give exactly what I wanted them to give. Again, obviously I'm pretty much gonna be copy and pasting from the photo. I might do a different style of flower, I don't know, but I will try and find this on Pinterest again. Obviously I've got it in my camera roll now, so I'll try and find it on Pinterest again so that I can grab the name of who this design was created by, because obviously it's not a freestyle. I kind of like to mix up my nails. Sometimes I'll do a freestyle, sometimes when I'm kind of not feeling so creative I will find a photo like this, or, you know, like I'm not necessarily feeling too creative today, just because obviously I am sad, so that's why we've gone for copying. Okay, so both zebras are now done and they're looking so cool. I am obsessed so far, so I need to cure those, and then I will put the silver gems on this one, mold the flower on this one, and yeah, and then the nails will be done. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think the moral of the story is that it's gonna hurt. A relationship breakup is gonna hurt. There's nothing that you can really do to change that, but what you can do is kind of learn how to live with that and kind of just, I don't know, I guess take the good out of what happened, out of what you went through. Like, I'm taking the good from that relationship, I'm taking the new standards that I've got. I want someone to treat me how I was treated. I now know exactly what I do want. You know, you've got to take the good from it. There's no use kind of dwelling over it, but it's gonna hurt, and you've got to let it hurt. Like, if you put off letting it hurt, then you're just inevitably gonna hurt later down the line when you try and move on. Like, you have to let it fester, let it do its thing. You're normal for it to hurt, and it's unfair, I guess, in a way. Like, you wish it didn't have to hurt like it did, but it is what it is. It's gonna hurt. There's just nothing you can do about it. Like I said, you know, have your own friends, have your own hobbies, have things that you can focus on and do that don't make you think of that person. Like, now when I'm doing my nails, obviously I'm making a video, so it kind of counteracts it, but you know, like, I'm doing my nails, I know that I enjoy doing my nails. Usually I would kind of just whack something on to watch, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with him, and that would help me kind of distract myself. But you don't want to distract too hard, you want to feel the pain, yeah, like I said, it's gonna hurt, like, and it's gonna hurt a lot, but you just have to kind of figure out your ways on how you feel you can cope with the situation. And as well, I think one thing is that, and I think, like, they weren't your person, and just look forward to meeting eventually one day your person. Don't rush to move on. That's not going to help you or anyone in this situation. And if it ended on bad terms, well, your future husband wouldn't do that to you, would they? You know, you've got to kind of like invest in yourself and kind of set yourself these standards and boundaries. Like, if someone's really wronged you and you're really upset over it, I guess obviously cheating, you know, that's gonna hit your self-worth. Like, that's gonna make you feel terrible, that's granted, but again, just say to yourself, my future husband won't do this to me. It's not me, it's them. They're the problem, and one day they're gonna literally have karma come around and bite them, because they're clearly not a great person. But yeah, I wouldn't change my experience for the world. I wouldn't ever go back and say I wish I'd never met him to go through this pain. I have met one of the most incredible people ever, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Obviously, I would change the way that it had to end. Obviously, I think anyone would much rather their relationship never having to end, because you don't want to have to feel the hurt. But unfortunately, in some situations, hurt is exactly what you do have to feel to come out on the other side. And one day you will meet your person that will treat you so amazing that you never look back. But I think it's also important not to rush into relationship. And the thing is as well, if you're hoping that one day you will get back with this person, if you don't want it to be fully over, you know, they haven't done anything terrible to you, then make sure you hold your dignity in that relationship and during the breakup. Like I said, don't say things that you'll regret. Don't beg. Men kind of, I don't know, they're kind of like a different breed. They don't see begging and stuff in a very good light. They see that as, you know, they're not being granted the space that they might want, or, you know, you want to go out with dignity, respect for yourself, never beg a man. Men respond best to a woman that has respected their boundaries and their decision, and if you walk away without all this crying and begging and pleading, and you walk away with your self-respect, then trust me, if you want that man back, he will probably come back. That's just a little tip for the girls. If you are hoping that the man will come back, I have had it in my previous situation, obviously after I'd made the mistake of begging and stuff, but he eventually kind of replied to the begging and was looking back to get back well, not looking back to get back together, but he replied to it, and I then chose self-respect, and I never replied to his and he never heard from me again, and he kept kind of little breadcrumbs like my things trying to text me to get back together because I completely disappeared off the face of the earth. So if you do that without the begging first, trust me, the man will come back, but obviously that's then up to you if you want to spin it back or not. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my experience. I'm using some cuticle oil. This is like orange flavour. It's so nice. It's like a little cuticle oil pattern, which I love. This is one of my brand new ones. There we go. Put some cuticle oil on, but yeah. So I guess that's kind of how I have dealt with basically like the loss of my life. Like, that's obviously how I feel at the moment. Like I said, it was an incredible relationship, an incredible person that, yeah, I don't even know how to describe genuinely just how incredible he is. All my friends would constantly say to me that they wished that they could be treated like I was. His friends would say the same thing, like, I don't know how you managed to just do so good by her. But it is what it is, and like I said, learning who I was before him and just basically keeping my identity throughout that relationship has genuinely helped me come to terms with this so much, because I know that I'm going to be okay. I know that I'm okay alone, and that I'm not necessarily alone. Even if not, I do have my own friends now. I know I will be fine. Obviously, it's not nice at all, and like I said throughout this, I'm not saying that I'm not absolutely gutted, like I'm not heartbroken, because I am, but I just know that I'll be okay, and I know that I'm okay with my own company. I have my own hobbies, I have distractions, I don't doom scroll, I'm not led in my bed trying to cope with it and seeing sad videos. I am getting on with my life, because life doesn't stop moving. These are the nails. I will see if I can focus a little bit better. Here we go. So like I said, I made a few tweaks just to kind of fit my style a little bit more. I didn't colour in the flower just simply because, I don't know, I quite liked it like this. And yeah, here we go. The thumb is just black. I think I am gonna add some little silver beads up here. Actually, I forgot to do that. But yeah, these are the nails. I need to do the other hand, so I will do the other hand, and then I'll just give you a little update once I've done both hands. But yeah, I do really hope that kind of you've understood a lot of what I'm saying. I know it's just quite rambly. Obviously, I'm in a bit of a difficult headspace and time right now, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of share with you everything that I have learned through two completely different heartbreaks and how I have dealt with them differently. And if you guys take any advice from this, then please be it that even if you're in the situation where you didn't keep your identity, use it as a lesson that next time you actually do, because it genuinely makes the biggest difference to your healing. I'm actually obsessed with the nails. Let me go finish my nails and I will catch back up with you. Okay, so I actually did the other hand so quick. Obviously I wasn't talking, I literally just locked in, but both of the hands are done now and I absolutely love them. I feel like they were kind of just what I wanted, just something kind of dark to match my soul right now. But yeah, thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. I do hope that maybe you took some advice either for what you're going through right now or for your next relationship. You know, you got to be prepared because you just never know what might happen. But I'm just going to leave you by saying your future husband would not do that, and a man who truly loves you would do everything in his power to make you feel that way. Never settle for less. I think we all need to bump up our standards and be the girl bosses that we are, and realise that what's meant for you will be, and what's not meant for you, you gotta let it walk away. You cannot beg anyone to stay in your life. If someone wants to leave, you let them leave. Keep your dignity, keep your self-respect, and let them walk away, and you will just feel like a powerful woman for it. And once you've done it once, there you go. You now know you can always do that. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I also hope that you love the nails, because I definitely do, and I will see you in my next video.